Deli edition.
In the world of the NBA, few things are more tantalizing or risky than a young, raw forward with upside. It's the siren song of potential that has lured many front offices, only for those dreams to be dashed on the rocks of underdevelopment, roster mismanagement, or plain old bad fit.
You better hide your baby off.
For the New York Knicks fans, Kevin Knox is a name that stirs up a mix of hope and heartbreak for us. He was drafted 9th overall in 2018. Knox was supposed to be a modern wing scorer. Instead, though, he became a symbol of the team's draft day miscalculations and developmental struggles. Now comes Pacôme Dadiet, the 19-year-old French wing, drafted 25th overall by the New York Knicks in the 2024 NBA draft. He's oozing potential, much like Knox was. He's athletic, long with a shooting stroke and a developing feel for the game. But given the ghost of Knox still lingers in the Garden's rafters, the question must be asked: is Dadiet the next Kevin Knox?
I apologize, but I'm gonna hurt this man.
Or can he carve out a different, more successful path? I'm mad that I'm having to create this video, but it's been on my mind. So I want to look at what are the similarities and some of the differences, and what ways can Dadiet avoid Knox's fate. So I think first, we do have an allure by his prototype. He has raw potential over proven production. Both Knox and Dadiet came into the NBA as projects. Knox had a solid but not spectacular year at Kentucky, showcasing flashes of scoring brilliance but lacking consistency. Dadiet didn't put up eye-popping numbers in Europe. He played limited minutes for, Ratio Farm in a German league, but scouts were intrigued by his tools. He had a fluid jumper, positional size, and a frame that should fill out nicely. The Knicks, in both cases, bet on the upside over polish. And in both cases, they selected players who were, by most standards, a year or two away from being NBA ready. The next part that stand out is both of them were tweeners without a clear role. Knox never quite found his positional identity. Was he a 3? Was he a stretch 4? Could he defend either position? Could he dribble well enough to be a creator? The answer to all of those questions ended up being no. He drifted between roles and coaching staffs, never locking down one NBA skill that kept him on the floor. Dadiet faces a similar question. At 6'8", he has the size of a modern wing, but the jury's out on his ball handling. The jury is out on his defensive versatility, and the jury is out on his ability to guard NBA wings without fouling. If he floats between roles without anchoring to a core identity, he could meet the same fate as Knox. Always intriguing, never irreplaceable. But there are key differences between the two. Why Dadiet isn't doomed. The mental approach and defensive engagement is one of them. One of the biggest criticisms of Kevin Knox was his motor. Whether fair or not, Knox was often accused of playing without urgency. He disappeared for quarters, struggled with defensive effort, and rarely imposed himself on the game. There was a quiet passivity to his style that made him an easy player for coaches to pull when things got tough. Dadiet, by contrast, has already drawn praise for his energy. In summer league, European competition, he competes defensively. He crashes the boards. He plays with a level of intensity Knox rarely showed consistently. His defensive stance, help rotations, willingness to fight through screens are all ahead of where Knox was at the same age. So that's a positive. It's the kind of baseline effort that wins coaches over, even when the offensive game is still catching up. Another point is the team context. He's coming into a functional franchise. Knox entered a chaotic Knicks environment. Dave Fizdale was head coach of Kevin Knox's rookie season with few veterans, no offensive identity, and no continuity. The Knicks were flailing to develop young players while trying to survive the pressure of New York's media market. Dadiet, on the other hand, enters a very different Knicks landscape. The team is competitive with a clear identity, a deep veteran core, and an expectation to win. He's not being asked to carry a franchise. He's being asked to grow within one. Mike Brown isn't going to throw Dadiet into the fire and hope for the best. He'll be slowly brought along. He'll be surrounded by capable teammates like Brunson, Hart, OG Anunoby. That structure could be the difference between a player floundering and a player flourishing. And I think that is an advantage that Dadiet has that Knox had nothing close. And also, how does Pacôme Dadiet avoid becoming another Kevin Knox story? How does he make sure his name is etched in the successful European wing files alongside Nick Batum and Luol Deng? Not another entry in the Knicks' long list of almost players. How do you get there? You have to become a defensive specialist. The fastest path to NBA minutes as a young wing: play defense. If Dadiet can prove he can defend NBA level wings, he can contest shots, stay in front of slashes, rotate on time, he's going to earn a spot in a rotation even if his offensive game takes time to develop. Think Matisse Thybulle with a higher ceiling offensively though. The Knicks don't need him to be a star this year. But if he can be a capable, low mistake defender who doesn't kill floor spacing, he will earn the trust of the Mike Brown coaching staff. And if you add the ability to shoot a three consistently, you need to stop playing. They have to find time for him. Dadiet's shooting mechanics are promising. He's got a high release and a natural rhythm, but he'll need to speed it up and shoot it under pressure. NBA defenders close fast. For him to be playable next to Brunson or Towns, he needs to hit open threes at like 36% plus or minus, and be confident doing it without hesitating. Watching tape of guys like McCall Bridges who developed into a 3-and-D monster could provide a blueprint for Dadiet. Dadiet doesn't need to force shots, but he needs to take them when they're open. And the next thing he got to focus on, just stay away from the G League. The G League for him at this point is purgatory. One danger with developmental prospects is the dreaded G League limbo, where they'll dominate lower level competition but never get real NBA minutes. Knox, despite his poor play, was often left on the end of the bench, hurting his confidence and his timing. The key for Dadiet is to make every minute in practice, in summer league, preseason, make it count. Show professionalism, intensity, and a willingness to do the little things. If he accepts a glue guy role early on, he may carve out minutes and avoid the spiral that Knox entered when confidence eroded and stagnation followed. And I think the way to do that is to accept and leverage veteran mentorship. The Knicks are now rich in experienced team-first veterans. You got Josh Hart, you got Deuce, you got OG, you got Brunson. They teach valuable lessons. Dadiet needs to become a sponge. Be the first in the gym, the last to leave. Ask questions. Knox never seemed to find a vet who took him under their wing. Dadiet has several to choose from. He should choose all of them. Right now, Dadiet is in his young career, we're at a fork in the road. Does he want to become himself and become a star, or turn into Kevin Knox? The similarities are there, the youthful upside, the uncertainty, the risk of role confusion. But Dadiet has several built-in advantages that Knox never had. A stable team, veteran infrastructure, defensive motor, international maturity. All of that tends to translate better to team basketball. And ultimately, the choice is his. If he leans into defense, spaces the floor with confidence, and commits to the dirty work, the hustle, the grit, the discipline. But if he floats on the perimeter, fades in big moments, and fails to define this game early on, the comparisons are going to mount. Knicks fans, we've seen this movie before. Dadiet needs to flip the script fast. Because in New York, promise is fleeting, and patience even more so. I'm rooting for him, but what say you? Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there is no struggle, there's no progress. I absolutely hate untapped potential. Whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Deli, everybody eats. I'm your boy Shia, and I'm out. Peace.